Hi guys, today I will go over everything that you need before you bring baby chicks home. First thing that you will need is some kind of a container. And the reason is because for the first few weeks of their lives, you will have to keep them inside the house. Or if you have a warm garage, that will work too. So what I like to use is, it is 35-gallon plastic container. It comes with a lid. We modified this lid a little bit because, of course, you don't want to just cover the container with a plastic lid and have your chicks being without air circulation and light. So we modified this lid. My husband cut out a big hole, and what he did, he zip tied hardware cloth to it. So that way the chicks will have access to light, and actually young chicks need a lot of light, so make sure you always keep it in a bright spot. And also at night you provide some source of light as well. What the lid does is protects them from predators, and by predators I mean dogs, cats, even small children. I have dogs and cats living with me, so the lid has to stay on the whole time to keep the chicks safe. So this is safety. How big the container you need to get, it depends how many chicks you're getting. The rule of thumb is half a square foot per chick, but I would say the bigger container the better, because they just go so fast, and you don't want to switch containers before you can really put them outside. And the next thing that you absolutely need to have is some kind of a heat source. What I like to use is a Thermometer, and the way it works, you have to have it plugged into a power source, and this whole panel warms up. And what is nice also about it, that is adjustable, because as your chicken grow, you're gonna have to raise it. Right? I like to keep it on the angle so they can, if they go farther in, it's warmer, and then if they want to cool off a little bit, then they can move forward. However, it is so important to test it before you actually bring your chicks home. Baby chicks require 95 degrees temperature for the first week of their life, and then as they go older, the temperature decreases. But for the first week, they need 95 degrees heat source. And oftentimes, those things might have a defect, factory defect, and they might not warm up to 95 degrees. So what I do, before I bring chickens home, I have a thermometer, and I put the thermometer underneath and I test the temperature. If it gets to 95 degrees, great. If it doesn't, then I have a problem. I either have to get something else or provide additional heat source. So it is very, very important to test it first. So I tested mine is good. It's ready for the chickens. Some people use a heat lamp. I'm not a big fan of heat lamp. It's because I feel, first of all, it could be a fire hazard. And second of all, I feel that this setup more mimics mama hen. So if they were growing up with their mama, what would happen? They would roam around from actually day one. And every time they get cold, they would go kind of under her body and warm up. We all are familiar with this cartoon image of mama hen sitting with her chicks, and that's exactly what happens. So this kind of mimics that behavior. And baby chicks are very good at regulating their own body temperature, so what's gonna happen, whenever they get cold, they will go under the brooder, and whenever they want to cool off, they will just roam around and move away from the brooder. That's why it's very important to provide that 95 degrees, but not your whole container should be 95 degrees. It's gonna be way too hot for them. So the thermal brooder really works well, and I like to use it. The next thing, if they were with their mama, she would show them where the water source is, she would show them where the food is, But since they are not with their mama, you have to provide that. So what I like to use for water source, it's actually filled with water, so I have to be careful. I like to use metal base with canning jar attached. It is extremely important to make sure that the base is not too deep. You don't want baby chick to fall in and drown. And also, what I like to use, what I mix in water, oh, I have to be careful, it's electrolyte and probiotic mix. And the reason why I use it, I get my chicks from farm store, so they didn't have to travel across country in mail and be without water for 3 days. But if you're getting your chicks, if you're ordering your chicks online, this is extremely important to add electrolytes to their water when they arrive, because they're gonna be dehydrated and they will be tired and they will be stressed. So anything you can do. And the way you mix it, for both electrolyte and probiotic, you mix a packet in a gallon of water. Of course, this is not a gallon. So what I use, I mix it in a gallon, keep it in the fridge, and then when I use it, when I need it, I just take it out of the fridge, warm it up, and then pour into my canning jar. But the reason it is important, I feel even though I'm getting my chicks from a farm store, it is very stressful to change environments, to be exposed to different people, and anything I can do to keep them more hydrated and healthy, of course I will do it. So I will give it to them for the first few days after they arrive. Probiotic, however, is going back to mama hen. If they were growing up with their mama, they would be scratching, they would be tasting different food, they would be exposed to soil, therefore different microbes, good and bad, but they would have a chance to really build up their digestive system and introduce all those beneficial microbes. In the confinement like this, they really don't get a chance like that, like they would normally experience if they were raised with their mom. So anything I can do to help build their immune system, digestive system, I will do. That's why I also mix probiotic in their water. And then food, let's get to food. I have this bag, I don't know if I can lift it. It's a 40-pound bag. I use unmedicated feed, and I also use metal base with a canning jar attached to it. For the first week of their lives, I just feed them the starter feed, and I just make sure that it's always available, always filled. And I like to use the base that has those little holes as opposed to just being open across like all the way. This kind of prevents chickens from scratching the food out. I mean, they will still make a mess, but at least it's a little bit more controlled. So for the first week, that's all what I feed them. Week 2, however, it gets very exciting because I introduce them different foods, but I will make a separate video about taking care of your chickens second week of their lives, which is gonna be fun. But for the first week, that's all what I give them. Another thing that you have to provide is bedding. For the first day after the chickens arrive, I would say first day or a couple of days, especially if you're getting male chickens in the mail, I like to use paper towel. And the reason is because it's absorbent, and also it is easy for chickens to find food. And kind of learn what food is. If you use the bedding right away, especially for chickens that were never exposed to food, they might confuse bedding for food, and they might eat too much of it and get sick. So what I do, I just line the container with the paper towel, kind of a thick layer, and I make sure I kind of watch them and make sure that they eat the food. And after I'm confident that they know what the food is, then I switch to pine shavings. Actually, I use the flake kind. It has much bigger pieces than kind of a sawdust kind, and it works better for me. And I think it just works better overall because it's it's difficult for chickens to really confuse such big flake for food, as opposed to those tiny shavings. Also, never ever use cedar. Cedar, it has oils that are very bad for chickens. It can really harm their respiratory system. So no cedar. Pine is probably the best. Also, never use newspaper because it's slippery. Chickens are very clumsy first couple of weeks, and they can slip, fall, injure themselves. The bones are fragile, and you don't want an injured chicken. So, so that is it. We have food, we have bedding, we have a safe container, and we have heat source. So this is all what we need in their first week of their lives. So I think we're ready to get the chickens. Yay, let's go get them. So we just came back from farm store and we ended up getting 4 baby chicks, 2 black astrolorps, and 2 Easter eggers. At least that's what we think. A lot of breeds were kind of like in one bin, so maybe we're gonna end up with a surprise. Let me change the camera angle so you guys can see actually inside of this bin. So here they are, all huddled together. I think they're a little scared and still a little bit stressed, but the yellow ones are the Easter eggers. At least that's what we think. And the black ones are black astrolorp. They're super cute. Beautiful and chirping and very energetic, which that's exactly what we want to see. However, especially if you're getting your chicks via mailed order, you have to make sure they know where the water is. And what do? I know it's gonna sound a little not nice. You have to dip their beaks in the water and kind of tilt them up to make sure that they know what the water is. Because if you think about it, they hadn't had any food or water since they hatched. It's very important to teach them how to drink and eat. And you can also sprinkle the food a little bit, like this one. This is this little Easter eggers already trying food, which is exactly what we want to see. And you just have to keep watching them to make sure that they all eat and they all drink. It might take some time because obviously they will be stressed, but especially with the mail order chicks, they don't eat and drink water on their own. After you of course show them and encourage them, then you really have to make sure you keep encouraging them, keep showing them where the water is, just so they know. So like again, but yeah, these guys are already older, so that I know they will be fine. I got them from farm store. They probably spent a week there already based on how big they are. But I still want to make sure that they know where the food is. That's why I'm kind of putting them close to the food and water. And see, they're picking each other, like this one is picking. I'm very happy that they actually discovered the brooder, because at the farm store they were under a heat lamp. But they know what the brooder is. They already were snuggling under, which is great, which is going back to chickens being able to regulate their temperature. So I will just let them be for now, but I will keep a close eye. I will let them rest, because I got a little stressed on the way here. They were crying the whole way. But yeah, see, this one is already going to warm up. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions about the setup or the equipment or just overall care, please leave me a comment and I will try to answer. And I hope you're gonna have fun raising chickens this year, and I will see you in the next video.